Hi, and welcome to Tremco Live, where we're socially distant but technically connected. I'm Marcia Tyler, one of the hosts of our broadcast. We're excited to be able to get in front of you every single week to talk about your design challenges, to talk about installation practices, and most importantly, just to have a conversation with you about what's going on in the industry. I am not alone, however. I am joined by my co-host.
I'm Paul Hogenboom. I'm the president of Tremco Construction Products Group, Marcy, a tremendous collection of brands, products, systems, and of course, most important, people.
People, absolutely. So how are you this Friday, Paul?
I'm good, I'm good. You know, we had our first blast of winter here in Cleveland. It was shocking off for 24 hours, but the sun did come back out. How about you?
Not bad, not bad. Yeah, when that blast of winter hit, I was actually visiting with my mom. So I'm a shoveler, so I shovel my snow myself like a crazy person, and I came home to
several feet.
Yeah, it was bad because think of the snowplow building up on the apron. So yeah. Took it to our advantage. We did a bunch of cute little promos about our Tremco Live December broadcast, which is all about cold and inclement weather.
There you go.
So we made it. What Chuck said this last night, if we got lemons, make lemonade, right? So made the best of that situation. So how was your Thanksgiving?
It was fantastic. The food always, great for about 5 days.
Yes, exactly. I know. I made everything my kids wanted, and then they left the very next day. So,
which is good. You can have it all.
I had it all to myself, and we've got some freezer saver stuff going on. So you can have.
It was different, right? Because of course everybody was trying to only be in small gatherings or even no gatherings. Yeah. So it was a
little different for everybody.
A little different. So hoping next Thanksgiving we're back to being able to get together as big groups.
Yes, absolutely. So thank you everybody for joining us again for our broadcast. We missed you last week, but we did offer up that nice recording of gratitude. So hopefully you caught that. If you didn't, as always, all of our Tremco Live episodes can be found on our YouTube channel. So that's the Tremco Sealants YouTube. So they're all available there for you. So Paul, November was all about healthcare. Different projects we do with healthcare. And in the month of December, being that it's cold, we chose to talk about those cold weather or inclement challenges that we all face.
Yeah, we've done tremendous work over the past years in developing cold weather systems, right? Really trying to meet the needs of both building owners who want aggressive construction schedules and our contractors who really would like to work year round. So we've done some great things. I look forward to sharing them.
Yeah. So each week we're going to touch on a different technology. This one in particular, we chose to start off with Nudura and insulated concrete forms.
Yeah, that's. I don't know that people think of it as a cold weather system, but you can work year round with it.
Absolutely, exactly, and I think that's part of it, right? I think we've had this conversation a couple times about just educating the industry, and I think there's a lot that we all can learn about insulated concrete forms. So we're excited to bring this up as a topic again. Obviously, there's lots of benefits to utilizing this type of construction. Super durable, quality of life of that construction, cost efficiency, as well as strength, and of course, construction efficiencies as well in the install, and of course, the life of the structure from an energy efficiency perspective.
Yeah, two of the ones that not listed here, they're also on my list of favorites because there are so many. We can't list them all. Is thermal mass is not often well appreciated. I know we'll talk about that today.
Yeah.
And they're incredibly quiet. So there's a lot of people now using ICF construction where you need the quiet, whether it's hospitality or it's a school, a learning setting. And you might be like adjacent to a highway or something. So quiet. It's another.
We'll have to do that when we're able to get on the road again. I'd like to be able to show that live, to demonstrate that sound, ability.
They're amazingly. It's like startlingly quiet.
Yeah, we talked about doing that at like a trade show booth to have people like walk through, just to kind of feel that how it does really stop that sound transmission. So yeah, and thermal mats, obviously something else we'll definitely talk about. So specifically today, as Paul kicked it off, we're excited to have so many different systems that we get to represent, so many different people every single day. And that insulated concrete forms and the technology that is so unique from Nudura is something we're very proud to have as part of us now. You can see here some of that great technology that goes into insulated concrete forms from Nudura. The top picture there is the Dura lock, so how it locks together. Not only as you're placing it together, it has those teeth like Lego blocks, but then it actually locks together too. So it really does help from that construction perspective. Of course, your folding technology, right? The ability to fold that and ship it in such smaller area.
Yeah, that's really ingenious. That folding capability is really ingenious. When you look at it, you're like, gosh, that's actually simple, but there's a cliche, right? Yes, and there's a genius in simplicity.
Yep, absolutely. The length of our forms as well. They are the longest and the widest, so it does allow for that efficiency of install, and then the markings on them also allow you to line up as you're installing different types of attachments. And of course, the 4-way reversible corners, so you really have that versatility in construction.
Yep.
So really, really proud to have that as part of it. I know from a durability perspective, it doesn't get any better than explaining how well this Nudura insulated concrete form home survived Hurricane Michael. So we'd like to always talk about that and feature that from a resiliency perspective.
Yeah, if you see that picture from further up, Marcy, it's startling. You just have devastation everywhere. Except for this one building standing, and of course you see the one right behind it because it was sheltered.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, so this was featured on CNN, and they actually talked to the owner of that house and how he had his building goals, and he knew that building with an insulated concrete form was his way to get his resiliency. Yeah. And of course, as we talk about education, we're really trying to educate the whole industry on insulated concrete forms. So we do have a Build Meets World blog that features a lot of different information, and we like to contribute to it regularly. If you're watching and you have something you'd like to contribute, Elise Bigley is the person that we can put you in contact with. She really does a great job of getting this content together. This one in particular is from Eric Miller. So he is our colleague. Coming from Nudura, and he wrote these top 5 myths about ICF construction. And I like putting it in here because I think having those myths debunked are a great way for us to educate the industry. So those 5 myths, Paul. 1, people think they're too expensive. 2, they think they're for residential foundation walls. 3, maybe they tried it and had some issues with like blowout and things like that, and that's why we have different types of technology in terms of that locking mechanism as well as alignment and structural reinforcing. 4, they want to downgrade their HVAC systems and they can't because builders maybe don't want them to. So, and then last is our value comparison. So I know I rattled those off very quickly. So what I'm instructing everyone to do is to check out that Build Meets World blog if you get a chance, but I also have a polling question for you. So if you are watching today and you'd like to know more about insulated concrete forms in any form or fashion, please click yes. We'd love to be able to provide some more educational information about insulated concrete forms. We have many different ways that we can share that information, so really important there. We hope you don't click no, but if you know everything about insulated concrete forms, we'll let it slide this time. So let us know what you're thinking about that.
Yeah, I know I follow a number of social media, a number of Nudura ICF threads, and they're certainly one of my favorites, if not my favorite, because it's just really cool what's being constructed today with Nudura ICF.
Yes, absolutely, and I want to thank people like Eric Miller for teaching me a lot about insulated concrete forms, and of course Randy White. Coming into this, didn't know a lot about them, so I have had my wow and aha moments throughout this year, these last couple of months for sure, learning about them.
Yeah, I just like just the constant stream of the new projects in the different states they're in. It's just really cool, really interesting.
Well, and the good thing is it doesn't end here today. We are going to invite on our guest today. One of our guests, it's Justin Perry. So he is our colleague representing Nudura. So if Justin could join us, that would be great.
Hi, Marcy. Hi, Paul. How are you?
Good,
Hey,
how are
Justin.
you?
Good.
So how are you today?
Good, good. Busy day as always. Lots of projects upcoming, trying to plan for, and making those calls and educating people on ICFs, just like we're doing here today.
Absolutely. I think Paul's done a calculation about how far we feel like we need to educate. So we've got a lot of work to do, right, in terms of educating.
Not just a lot of work to do, but it never ends.
Never ends. So we're happy to have someone like you helping us out. So tell us a little bit about your history in the industry.
Yeah, so I was exposed to ICFs very early in my life. My early teens actually. So it's been over 20 years of gaining experience in ICFs and going through it as a contractor myself. So like many people, start off as a carpenter and you learn all these new ways of building. But ICF really stuck with me, and it was because I had some good influences as well to really keep me there. But it's enabled me to see the capabilities of ICF construction from both a residential standpoint, commercial standpoint, and also being able to recognize the benefits for net zero and passive homes. So it's really given me a well-rounded perspective on the capabilities of ICF construction.
It was great. Before COVID hit, I was able to come up and do some training with you guys in, I think it was in Quebec. Was it Quebec or Montreal?
Yeah, in Quebec.
Okay, and I meeting everybody, and of course meeting everybody last year at our sales meeting. I feel like we're very similar in terms of how we approach our customers, that whole belly to belly approach, and we also like to have a good time, which is why I shared the Movember post that Nudura posted. So some of those characters there from Nudura alongside you, but I felt like it was very familial. That's how we are, and that's how you guys are. So we're really happy to have you as part of the family. Thanks, Paul.
Oh, appreciate that.
And of course, some Habitat Humanity was the other post that you did share. So I think there's a lot to be said about the benefits of insulated concrete form construction. And as always, there's a lot that we can share with each other and with our customers. The other slide here that we put together was all about construction benefits. So during construction, being that our topic this month is all about snow and cold weather, I figured you would be a perfect person to talk to about just that. You know, what are those benefits as we're utilizing insulated concrete forms?
Yeah, so I mean, being in Atlantic Canada, we do get our fair share of snow, and it's a challenge for construction, especially conventional construction, where you spend so much time just trying to clear the job site to be able to lay your material out to erect walls. So your job costs tend to increase, your labor costs increase. So that's why in a lot of cases, builders look at, well, we'll push that to the spring. But that's the beauty of ICF construction, is that we don't have to spend time clearing the job site in order to start building the walls. We're able to basically cover the wall, top of the wall, so that we don't have accumulations of snow and ice get inside the wall. So it does take a little bit of time at the start of the day and at the end of the day to uncover and to cover the walls. But it's really minimal, and that's a pretty common practice that's done regardless of the type of construction, to cover as much as you can. So for us, we spend more time actually building our walls and going towards getting it weather tight than we do clearing snow and worrying about the snow and ice challenges that you see in conventional construction.
I love the picture at the bottom there, because it really does lend to such a clean construction site too, right? You don't have the same amount of equipment or materials there that you would in a conventional construction site.
Right, it's a very minimal amount of tools that are needed with ICF. So realistically, a handsaw, a rubber mallet, and some low expansion foam, and you're pretty much prepared to build with it. So you're not needing compressors and all kinds of different hand tools to be able to build the structure. So even a structure like seen there, Heritage Square long-term care facility, you just don't have the abundance of tools laid all over the job site to be able to complete a job like that.
Well, and then I love the mention of thermal masses. Paul nicely set us up for that conversation. So that thermal mass how that allows you to start building on the inside, right? So the thermal mass of the structure really does bring that ability to start working on the inside.
Absolutely. I'll use this structure as an example where on the trusses, even before the trusses were completely installed, they were able to hoard heat and start working on other aspects of finishing the interior of the building. And that's a pretty common practice where once those windows and doors are in, we're able to start interior finishes. So your sub-trades are mobilizing that much faster, getting your electricians and plumbers to start doing their work on the inside, so drywall can go on faster. We're just not dependent on cladding to go on the exterior walls in order to start that. So it really gives us a huge timeline advantage by being able to have that weather tight ability immediately once trusses and windows and doors are installed.
Well, I know there's a lot of examples that you mentioned to me yesterday in terms of just shaving off months off that schedule because of that.
Right. So one of the facilities that we did, it was the perfect example where the owner had two facilities going at the same time, which were care facilities. One was conventional construction, and they had a 3-month head start on this crew that I was working with, and we ended up passing that other facility, and that our Nudura ICF facility opened 4 months in advance of this conventional build. So it just goes to show how fast we're able to move those timelines ahead and bring those facilities to open. And it's really important because that's extra revenue that these developers and owners are able to generate as a result of those timelines.
That's incredible. So they have a 3-month start, and the Nudura project was able to complete 4 months ahead of time. That's amazing.
Right. So 7 months, I added it up.
7 months. Paul's here for he's my math guy and my pronunciation guy for sure. Well, I'm so glad you were able to come on and talk with us today. And I know we want to include one more person in our dialogue today. So we will bring on Grant Morgan. Grant Morgan, I know you won't be able to share your camera today, but I know you are here with us audibly. So Grant, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks. How are you guys?
Good. So Grant, tell us a little bit about yourself and your experience in the industry.
Well, we've been constructing here in Newfoundland now for approximately, well, my family's a family business, 50 years old. I've been active in it for the last 35, and we've tackled all types of construction here, from, early day conventional construction to, log construction. We've done EFIS construction. We've done, steel and steel stud, conventional wood, you name it, we've done it. We've done tilt up, but until I was introduced to Nudura, I really didn't realize how hard I was working.
Well, I love the conversation we had yesterday, because you were like, you literally don't need power to put
No, you don't need power, and I mean, and to listen to you guys speak, it's almost sounds too good to be true, but it is true. You really you can take a very large thing and make it simple. As Paul's quote earlier about simplicity. It's just
you're on here for our check, our fact checker, because you actually experienced, it. Obviously Justin did too prior to becoming part of Nudura. But we love that. We love hearing that from you. And I think you have a unique position as well, because you not only are the builder, you're the developer, and then you also are the owner. So you have the need to not only retain, but maintain. So a lot rides in your decision process as well.
That's correct. We have to maintain all our facilities. Our facilities are rented mostly to government, and we're heavily entrenched in healthcare as well. So we have a large stake in healthcare facilities. So we do maintain all our facilities. So energy and maintenance becomes major issues as we look forward and as we build.
Well, I know we wanted to specifically talk about Heritage Square, so we got some information here. There's a great video that we're going to share with everybody that is a testimonial video from yourself, as well as a great case study, but I figured we could talk a little bit about it here today. So tell us about this Heritage Square Retirement Living Center.
Well, it's one of 3 centers that we have. The other 2 facilities were not ICF. I wasn't introduced to ICF I think until around 2014. But anyway, in any case, this particular job was a larger of the three, and it was opened quicker than the other two. Let me say that. And we really enjoyed the build. It was simple. Our engineers and architects worked with us to design it to components that fit to minimize cutting. We actually didn't have any wastage, literally, like we had very, very little wastage. And it was designed as such. So we were really excited about that. And it went so fast. It was a high visibility area, and you're always under a lot of pressure, you know, in an area where you're in a main thoroughfare because people critique your work, right? So we were very pleased and happy to bring this in quick and on budget.
That's great. I have a few pictures of it that Justin shared. So it's a great facility, high end. I know you were able to finish it very quickly. There was a couple attributes that we specifically talked about yesterday that I wanted to make sure we talked about today. So I have them listed here from that perspective. So I know we've all mentioned faster. You also mentioned easy and that your crew likes it. So tell me a little bit about that.
Well, the ease of it, you know, the lightness of the product, how light it is, how versatile it is, how easy it is to handle. I mean, I was in an aerial platform lift seminar today, and we talked about, you know, loading baskets and how much weight you can put on different equipment. And with this product, you can load a scissor lift with 250 square feet of wall, and you can do your work. I mean, if you're going to do any conventional work off of any lift or any type of mechanical equipment, you can't overload, you know, you just can't do it. So this lends itself, and you point load. So when you load up your second floor, you can point load. You can just stack and stack and stack and get ready to go to work. You don't have to worry about point load and distribution. Oh, that's good. My crew loves it because you don't move very much. When you move away from the area you're working in, that area is complete. The next subtrade is coming into that area. You don't need to ever go back to that area. Once you've poured this wall, it's done.
That's great. And I know you talked yesterday about the versatility of connecting it, right? So if for some reason you are connecting to a different type of construction, or even when you're doing your floor lines, you were talking about how much easier it is utilizing this type of construction.
It is, and there's a lot of reference points in the product as well. You know, you have your vertical cut lines, your horizontal joints that you can always reference and measure from. So you don't, you know, you literally don't need to take any shots. Once you take your initial shot off your footings, you don't need to pull out your transits and levels anymore. You don't need to do any of that. You just go from there. I mean, you can literally go, the sky's the limit. Once you set your level foundation and you got measuring reference points from all over, you don't need to visit the plan very often. It's just all around very, very efficient.
I think the other side of that too, just to touch on, Grant, is for anybody that is not all that familiar with it, it's very easy to teach somebody on a crew, and even on a large crew, because of those reference points that are there, where they can look at it as basically this doesn't match this pattern. So when you go up the wall, it's easy to recognize if something is done incorrectly, because everything lines up. So as you said, you know, those reference points, they make it very easy to catch anything if something is installed incorrectly as you're going up the wall.
100%. And when you're doing the pour, you know, if you recognize something as you're going with the pour, you got time to adjust it. It is a wonderful system. It's just a lot of thought gone into it. But I think people are a little bit reluctant to try new products, especially when you step away, when you talk about construction, because a lot of construction companies have seasoned people that have been with them for a long time. I think that if people were to visit the sites during construction, like if you had a client that came to my site during construction, or potential customer, and once they, you know, visited the sites, they would see just how simple it is to use.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And I mean, that's something that is the challenge, to get people to go outside their comfort zone and actually recognize what benefits are here. And I mean, where you have seen this already, it's great to have a voice like yours as a testament to basically say that this is this easy. This isn't something that, you know, is said to be easy and made difficult in the end.
Claire, no, absolutely not. This is something that's real. I mean, it's, you know, and you make mistakes, and I put geothermal heat in this facility here, and I mean, this is a little off topic, but I mean, I didn't need to. Clearly, I spent too much money. I mean, it was really almost a waste of my money, right? I mean, my engineers came to me after, and I'm running my electric bills, my energy bills are so efficient that they're saying, boys, you could heat this with a candle. Like you didn't need to spend this money. But that's it. I did it. So we boast that as well.
Yeah.
Too late now.
Yeah.
And that energy efficiency is definitely something that I just keep hearing so many testimonials about that. It's incredible.
I think the acoustic value too is underrated. I think that, you walk into this facility versus the other two, or any for that matter, you get a feeling of robustness. You get a feeling of security. You get a feeling of your professionalism. You get a feeling of, you get that feeling, when you walk into a place and you can feel it. You don't hear the outside urban noises. You don't hear all those other noises. And there's the acoustic values from room to room are even numbed and different. So it's good.
It feels solid. I know you specifically talked about that energy efficiency in your testimonial, so we definitely know evidence of that. From a training perspective, you mentioned it that this was something that you learned, and it was easy for you to learn. I know there's a lot of ways that we offer training opportunities. You want to explain that a little bit?
Sure. I mean, basically, we've opened it up online, which is great, especially for the time that we're living in right now, is to have access online. But typically, the way things go is that we have in-class sessions where contractors, architects, engineers, building officials, homeowners, they're coming to these courses to be educated, and we spend a full day covering right from footing to finished interior products and exterior cladding and how that's accomplished. So we really go through every aspect of the build very thoroughly. After that, once they've completed the course and done their test at the end of the day with a passing grade, then it's the on-site training. And this is, for me, this is the best part, is that we actually go to the job site with contractors, with their crews to train them. So they're not making those beginner mistakes. So once they've completed 2 successful builds under our supervision or our distributors, which are fantastic as well in their knowledge and ability to come to site, then we're able to sign them off as a trained installer. Even after that, that's not where the learning stops or the training stops. We are more than happy to come to site time and time again to help contractors work through any issues that they may be having on the job site. If they see something that they're unfamiliar with and looking for guidance, that's what Nudura and our team is all about, is being able to go to those job sites and help the contractors achieve the end result that they're looking for.
That's great. And then I know we talked about how during construction, I think it was Grant, you mentioned, so during construction, they could use small little heaters to fill up to heat a 10,000 square foot area just because of it retaining the heat so well during construction.
Correct. We did use some fuel fired furnaces to do our floor pouring. After we achieved that and we went to the interior drywall, we used just small electric heaters throughout the facility, and it was more than enough during the winter process.
That's great. And I know that based on construction practices, in your area and probably many areas, that you have to have that exterior facade on, or the finish, before you can start working on the interior space.
It is a code requirement there to actually have the exterior facade, what they call weather tight, to carry on inside with electrical and plumbing and mechanical. So with this product, as soon as we pour and our roof is on, we're good to go. We don't have to worry about our claddings.
That's awesome. And I think this particular project, I think you said some statistics about the timeline of how long it took and how much time you did save on it.
Yeah, we did. We allotted 2 years for this job, and we did it in 18 months. We had 4 months revenue, excuse me, that we enjoyed. That we which is
and
great.
I think at the end of the conversation we had yesterday, I wrote down that you said now that you started building with insulated concrete forms, you don't want to build with anything else.
We won't go back. We're not going to go back there. It's definitely not good. It's I actually have a project now coming up. It's a nice project. It's 20,000 square feet, but it's going to be designed by the architects and engineers to accommodate the modular system. So again, to minimize cutting, and we are really looking forward to it. So you know, and we were low bidder on this particular job because I believe because of the system.
That's great.
That's one of our 5 myths.
Yeah, exactly. So too expensive? No. Not used for residential foundation, walls only? No. Had issues. They had some issues, but you didn't seem to have issues. You thought it was very easy to work with. The HVAC system downgrade, how about that one? You said you had you wished you had gone with something slightly different, right? From that perspective, so maybe that was a lesson learned.
Well, yeah, you know, we took the geothermal infrared hydronic heat and we applied it to this building. It was actually borrowed, you know, the idea was borrowed from another building. We pioneered a little bit with simultaneous cooling and heating from a geothermal source, but as it turned out, we didn't really need to do that, and we spent a lot of money there.
And well, I think the last one was our value comparison. So I think that's something else as you've learned through building that, you know, you can't do a direct comparison from one structure to the next. It's not linear.
And I think that's one of the, I might call it tricky things about this is that the thermal mass that ICF really brings is perhaps very maybe misunderstood.
Yeah.
In terms of the, you know, we think of our value in terms of, you know, supporting the heating and cooling loads, but really don't tend to think of thermal mass and its effect on that.
Right, and that direct effect because of that thermal mass versus just saying, here, I put in this type of insulation.
Right. Yeah.
It's really undervalued, and the lack of understanding around it is something that people are starting to work through. And as code changes, it's only going to benefit ICF construction that much more with the acknowledgement of the thermal mass being included in code, so that we're doing an actual energy analysis on the wall, as opposed to just looking at more and more insulation, so more R value, more R value, where we do get to a point of redundancy in that. So, you know, the thermal mass is such a key aspect to how these structures perform and how airtight they are. So you don't have those air changes per hour that are typical swings of a conventional building.
And if I may, to put it simple in layman's terms, the building acts as a cooler, or it acts as a thermos bottle, right? So in the summertime, it's very cool in the building. In the wintertime, it's very warm in the building. And that's the way the building behaves, regardless of the source or the heat. You will still get that effect. It will still retain the coolness in the summer. It will maintain an interior heat in the winter. So it's very unique that way.
It's one of the things that I wanted to mention, just as you were talking about your geothermal system, Grant, was so Marcy, Renee, Forresty, and we went to Grant's building and we did a tour of the building once it was completed, and we walked the mechanical room of Grant's building, and all you could hear operating was just a circulator pump. It was almost dead quiet. There was nothing running. So it was pretty amazing to look at a building of that size and not hear a whole bunch of mechanical elements running. So it was really impressive just to walk that and actually get that feeling of nothing is really working here, just a circulator pump.
Wow, that's incredible. So I should have wrote retains heat or cool, right?
Yes.
But it definitely handles both of that. That's incredible. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Justin, for putting all this information together for us. And of course, thanks, Grant, so much for sharing your expertise and your experience with us today. Really appreciate you guys being a part of this.
Well, thank you very much for having us.
Yes,
It was a perfect way to kick off our December. So thank you guys so much. So Paul, pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's you know, I followed ICF for years and years, and when Nudura came to RPM and then Tremco, it was sort of a dream come true. And since then, I think I'm a lot like Grant in terms of your belief in the product, the process, the system, and it's a way to construct a premium building. And of course, you hit the myths, and it's and I think Grant might have touched on it. He mentioned the word, he was low bid. It is an incredibly cost-effective way. And I think two other words that came up today, passive and net zero. So I think as those two things are happening in society, right, people desire that outcome, and codes are heading in that direction, Marcy. And I think Nudura is in for a fantastic future for those reasons.
I think so too. I agree. Once again, if you guys are interested in learning more about insulated concrete forms, please, I hope you clicked yes. If not, you can always email me.
We didn't check our poll, did we?
We didn't check our poll.
Is that because we're nervous?
Oh, I probably forgot.
No's?
I probably forgot to check the poll.
All right, well,
So we could share the results. Let's take a look at that.
That's not bad. Couple no's to keep
Yes.
us honest.
And I'm sure those are our Nudura friends, because I'm going to be calling our Nudura friends to help in the education, of course. So, but yeah, once again, if you guys are interested in learning more about insulated concrete forms, and it looks like you are, there's a lot of great information that we have on our website. And of course, that training program that Justin mentioned, it's a great online course. There's so many resources. And I think the more and more I learn, I mean, it does sound too good to be true,
Yeah.
but it is that good of a way to build.
I'm
from a
glad you
technology
mentioned the
perspective.
training, Marcy, because two things happened. I think we were in the process of really redoing the training, and then COVID came, and of course then we're in a distance environment. So I think we've gotten fantastic feedback on the online training. I don't think anything ever truly replaces belly to belly.
Right.
But as far as that goes, I think the online training that's been put together by Randy and his team has got fantastic reviews.
A great place to start with the online training, and then just knowing that you have so many great feet on the street that'll be there to help you with those questions from beyond that training. So, well, everybody, once again, thank you so much for joining us on our broadcast. This is week 1, and it was episode 30. So we're talking about cold weather installations. Next week, we are going to look at Puma coatings and how they can be installed in the cold. We got some of our tech guys that'll be joining us for that. And we're going to be talking about parking structures, and waterproofing membranes. The following Friday, to wrap up our month, we'll talk with our roofing counterparts and talk about how that technology can also be used in roofing, and how we can really combat the weather as best as we can with those technologies.
All right, well, let it be cold.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, everybody. Be safe.